I have an important fact here. I went to the bathroom with Luds.
I love it.
Yep.
I don't.
Ryan, can we hear that again? Because that's the perfect
I have an important fact here. I went to the bathroom with Luds.
We haven't had a regular podcast weekday show in almost 3 weeks. And it's the perfect way to start. It's Monday. Let's get the week started on the right foot. Going to the bathroom with Luds on DLLS.
Bang.
All right, welcome to the DLLS Stars Podcast. That seems weird to say. We've said pregame or postgame show. November 19th was the last time that we had a weekday, what we would call normal or regular DLLS Stars Pod show. Well, it is Monday. It's December 8th. This is the DLLS Stars Podcast. Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler. Nice shirt, by the way.
It's Pops.
I'm Owen Newkirk. Our producer's Ryan Vaughters, who's clearly in mid-season form right now. Although, don't ask him to how much sleep he has or hasn't had lately, because foot to the grindstone. Before we get into it,
foot to the groin.
Well, I guess that would apply in this case. Before we get into all the things we want to talk about today, let's talk about a brand new hat collection here at DLLS as part of ALLCITY's headwear. 4 new different designs, including a Mavs, which is center left on your screen, the Stars hockey hat, which is clearly the green center right, the DLS flag, that white with the black embroidery looking really cool, and then the crest where you can see the DLS flag just kind of tucked in the middle there. So we haven't had a lot of DLS hats. We had the Cowboys one initially, and now a full hat collection available. But you better get them fast because there's limited supply. So if you want to get one before they're sold out, you better jump on that. I wasn't
listening to the full thing, and I was going to say, can we get those hats?
Yes.
So, but we got to hurry fast.
Available now. You got to do it now. Do it on your phone.
If you'd like to buy one,
go to I know how to do that.
AllDLLS.com. Somebody try to explain Luds how to use the employee discount code.
TO. It's
PTO can explain
PTO.
A PTO?
Yeah, your PTO. Go on there.
Tryout?
No, you're going to confuse him. Stop.
My PTO?
It's a tryout.
I got a PTO?
Yeah, your time off.
Professional tryout.
Remember your time off? Remember we went through that whole process over the summer?
I would waste how many ever days we get. It would take me that many days to figure out how to get that hat.
See, you got me down a rabbit hole. You talk about PTO, and I'm sitting there going, okay, Luds at his current age gets on the ice with the Dallas Stars.
They could use a shot blocking defenseman in this
I think they're doing okay.
Yeah.
Boy, are they.
Yep.
3 in a row, points in 10 straight.
Getting old.
And, winning never gets old, does it?
I was just talking to KG, and he started talking, and I said, yeah, but you know what? Like, for us, it's boring. I mean, it's not boring because it's nice because we can have a fun show, but you're kind of manufacturing what you want to talk about because it's just rinse and repeat. Oh, yeah, they won again. They went to shootout. You know, they got another point. If they weren't even playing well, and they got a point, and it's hard to. It's a good problem for us to have.
I mean,
we could be sitting here making up excuses.
Could be San Jose
or talking about why they're losing all the time, or can't get this right, or the injuries, excuses because of all the injuries, and they haven't. Well, one thing we certainly don't have to manufacture is, before we get into our recap of last week, we're going to do our 3 stars as we have done every week this season. We're going to talk about the schedule for the upcoming games this week. Sam was at practice this morning, which was optional, but got some really interesting injury updates. But first, we talked about this briefly during our pregame show yesterday, but we wanted to do a full segment on it because this is a big part of Dallas Stars history. Their previous owner, not their first, Norm Green, brought the team from the North Stars in Minnesota to Dallas, but then the next one, Tom Hicks, passed away on Saturday at the age of 79. And, of course, he was the owner who was in charge of running this team when they won the Stanley Cup in 1999. which is still the pinnacle of this franchise's history. Now, of the last 10 years or so, this team has gone from administration, being going through bankruptcy, which is part of the end of the Hicks ownership legacy, but certainly doesn't diminish what he accomplished from the mid-90s until, 2011, 10 or 11, in that range. But I think it's important to mention that out of that, sort of the ashes of that, they have become, it's sort of like one of the model franchises in the league as far as being consistently in the contention. They haven't won a Stanley Cup since, but they've been hosting the draft, the Winter Classic, a Stadium Series. They went to Finland. They've been a team that wants to be a part of the big things in the NHL. But none of that happens with Tom Gaglardi and his current group now if it wasn't for what Tom Hicks and his group did, buying it from Norm Green and then ultimately winning a Stanley Cup. Well, there was a lot of tributes for Tom Hicks from his, his life and, of course, his ownership of the Stars. We'll start with the Dallas Stars, who submitted this statement the other day. The entire Dallas Stars family mourns the loss of our former owner, Tom O. Hicks, who passed away on Saturday, age of 79. During his ownership of the club from 1995 through 2011, the team experienced unprecedented success and captured multiple division titles, 2 President's Trophies, and the 1999 Stanley Cup. He also played an instrumental role in the development and planning of the American Airlines Center, along with the grassroots growth of hockey through the creation of numerous Star Center facilities. Our franchise would not be in the position we are today without the ownership of Mr. Hicks. His legacy will be honored by our franchise for decades to come. And then they went on to talk about his business background with the city of Dallas and, of course, these sympathies to his surviving family, his wife, 6 children, and many grandchildren. Luds, when you hear that just from the Stars, I mean, I just thought it was really important to read today because we asked you briefly about it on Sunday. That's yesterday. It feels like it was 3 days ago. But that really, I thought, sort of encapsulates how important Tom Hicks was to this franchise.
Yeah, I think, and again, I don't want to leave out Norm Green's name in that because Norm had a lot to do with bringing the team to Dallas. But I think what happened is when Tom took the team over and then we got a little bit down the road, what he allowed management to do is set the standard for today's team. And by again, it's easy to say that when you win a championship, but every year we had the ability, and I mean that by Bob Gainey and the general management and his group, he allowed them to make additions to the team. And what do we need to do? How do we need to get past this team? And what puts us over the hump? And when there was not a question mark, but a comment about this is what we need, from what I understand, the answer was then go get it done.
Yep.
And it wasn't this, well, can we, go get it done?
No hesitation.
Yeah, none. I mean, we want to win and we want to be a champion.
And he did.
Yeah, now I'll tell you, you're reading that. I know you're going to read another one, but I want to read one that I forgot about this one. Okay. And it came, I'll tell you when it came. Cheers to a genuine man who cared about every one of us and provided a dream come true to do something so special together, incredible and forever in our hearts. Thank you, Tom and family. We will always remember you. Cheers forever to all and the cup, all the memories, good times we had together. Love you, Tom. This is how I feel. And so sad for losing a wonderful leader who brought all of us together. And I am celebrating our friendship tonight, just as we did when winning the cup. Love you all. And this is a group message that I had sent out. Love you all and your passion for the Stars hockey again. Cheers to Tom. And this was sent to me at 4:36 a.m. Would anybody care to guess who that might have come from?
Well,
Should we just leave it out there?
Boy,
I have no idea.
I have 2 guesses, but I have no frame of reference for it. So
again, 4:36 a.m.
I would think it's either, my guesses would be either Ed Belfour or Brett
Stop
Hull.
right there.
It was Belfour.
Eddie. Yeah, Eddie. Yeah, and
Somebody who doesn't
when
sleep.
I know there's a time there, and so and especially when it says I'm celebrating his life right now. So, but I mean Eddie's and then this morning actually, Darian and Joe Neuendijk and Hatcher reached out to me. They wanted Tommy Jr. Wanted Tommy's number to reach out to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got something from Tommy too. But it was funny when I reached out to Tommy the other day. I think it'll be in whatever you're going to read here that we sent to you. But he was just talking about, we were sitting at the kitchen table yesterday, and we were going through all the games and the times, and Tom was talking to him. This is obviously before he passed away. He was talking about, the good times, and this happened and that happened.
Well, you set us right up perfectly. So his son, he has 6 children, but Tom Jr., or you call him Tommy, I don't know if I met him or not. I've met Mac, who was the principal for the Hicks Sports Group that was running the AHL's Texas Stars when I worked for them. And he sent you a very long message about it, and we have that. So let's go to that. Here's Tom Hicks Jr., or Tommy. The entire family was sitting down together and talking about how special it was and how the Dallas Stars were an extended part of our family, especially that team. Talking about the 99 team. We went through specific games, goals, checks, and saves. Of course, nothing was better than winning the Cup in Buffalo, but there were so many other memories in the first, the second, and the third rounds. It was the definition of a team, all 4 lines, and our goalie stood on their heads to deliver Dallas, Texas, a Stanley Cup. But we also talked about how important the Dallas Stars fans were, and there is no better advantage than playing at Reunion Arena in front of the Dallas crowd. We also shared some laughs about the time that he had to escort a very drunk Red Wings fan out of Reunion who was harassing a Dallas Stars fan in the regular season that year. The cops were in shock. He took this guy up the aisle like a school kid. I can just picture him grabbing him by the ear. And
by the pants.
Yeah. And Luds, this is still when Tom was still alive, sharing with it before he passed.
And I would I didn't see what happened, but I'm pretty sure there was probably a couple of security guards following Tom.
Yeah, probably.
Carrying him up the steps. So he had him usually wherever he went.
Well, the NHL released a statement as well, which just shows the gravitas of the career and the impact of Tom Hicks with the NHL and with the Stars. Tom Hicks combined his innovative business acumen with his passions for sports and the city of Dallas to transform the Stars into one of the most successful franchises in the NHL and the catalyst for the explosive growth of hockey in Texas. In 1995-96, his second season as owner, the Stars began a remarkable stretch that saw them win 7 of the next 9 division titles, 2 Western Conference championships, and the Stanley Cup in 1999. Hicks was instrumental in the planning and development of American Airlines Center, and his philanthropy focused upon promoting education and helping the homeless in the Dallas area. The National Hockey League mourns his passing and sends our sincere condolences to his wife, Cinda, their 6 children and 11 grandchildren, and the entire Hicks family. Now, the Texas Rangers, who he owned as well as part of his sports group, tweeted out their condolences about his passing. And while I don't know if they left the English Premier League side, Liverpool FC, on the greatest of terms, they did post a story. They didn't tweet. Liverpool didn't tweet about it, but they did post an article on their website basically announcing his passing and that he was, part of the ownership group for the soccer team for the number of years that he did. They, like the Rangers and Stars, did have to deal with the financial fallout of the bankruptcy of the sports group, which, of course, especially for Liverpool, because they did not win the title under Hicks, that was, they didn't experience the Stars top of the mountain like the hockey team did. And so some of that fan base, I don't think, has the same fondness of memory. And of course, he's a Texan, right? This is his hometown, his home state, and it means a lot because of what he did in this area, whereas England is, a wholly different area. But massive condolences to Tom Hicks. And Luds, I'm glad you had a chance to share, because yesterday you eulogized him by talking about urinating in his shrubberies, which was pretty funny. But you also knew him personally, whereas I didn't, Sam didn't. And I just love hearing from somebody who knew him on that level.
Yeah, but it was funny because at the time, Tommy was just a young kid,
yeah,
or younger kid, you know what I mean? And so you didn't, and I didn't even know until a couple of years ago. Tommy had sent me a message and said, "Hey, let's get together and go golfing." And I'm like, well, I'm not really a great golfer, but and if a Hicks calls you, then let's. Which I did, and I did talk to him, but I didn't realize he was in the National Republican Board or chairman of the Republican Party or something like that. And I'm like, "You're what?" And I'm like, I remember when I'm saying, Tommy says to me, "Do you know what I do, lads?" And I'm like, "No, you probably don't have to do anything." I mean, because I was kind of joking because, again, I just remember him as a kid. He goes, "No, I'm this." I'm like, "Oh, wow." And so And I've never asked Tommy about it, and I'm still wondering why the hell did you want to go golfing? Because I know nothing about politics. Like, little shocker, but I don't know anything about it. But anyway, they're a great family. They treated all of us like they said. They treated us like family, and had times at their house and things like that, on the occasion. So and we had a good group of guys too. And it was just nice, guys like Newey and Hatcher and and Eddie and those kind of guys that are reaching out to send things to the family too, even though a long time ago, but they still remember how good it was and what they did for the rest of the group.
Sam, I intentionally leaned on Luds because of the personal connection, but you've been a fan since you were young, and I'm guessing your first year as a Dallas Stars fan was very much during the Hicks era.
Yeah. And everything, the cool part about coming into an organization that's been established for so long and has that history, and now obviously sitting next to a guy who was a big part of that, is learning all this stuff, stuff I didn't know. And hearing, I was just about to say before you said that it's cool to have those people reach out. That's part of that. I don't want to say cool because it's obviously a very sad moment, but part of the experience to hear, when something like this happens, to see how many people reach out, whether it's to you, to his family, or everything like that. And that's where you really see the impact these people have. And it's obviously just a massive one in this city and across the NHL and sports.
And I will say that when this team wins that championship, what has been committed to me?
Afloat.
Right? Yes, afloat. I can pretty much promise you any of the Hicks family can be on that float, especially Tommy Jr. Tommy likes to have a good time too, so he kind of fit in with it.
I can't wait.
Well, he was a titan of business and industry, obviously, before he ever bought the Dallas Stars, but he leaves us with his name first engraved on the Stanley Cup for the 99 Dallas Stars. More DLLS Stars podcast to come. Let's talk about Wild Fork Foods. In fact, we got to go out there. I did with some of the other shows from DLS with Cowboys, Mavs, and Rangers a couple weeks ago, and we got a demonstration of what Wild Fork has to offer. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of different types of meat from everything you can possibly imagine. The normal, more basic, everyday cuts to the more exotic ones. Everything's frozen, but they're flash frozen, and it's done in a way where it's actually better than fresh because they're well preserved. They're easy to thaw. They're experts at Wild Fork. Actually give you instructions how to thaw out each thing, how to cook and prepare it. They sell sides. They even sell desserts. It is tremendous. They have locations in Plano, Frisco, North Richland Hills, Flower Mound, Wiley, Addison, Las Colinas, Prosper, which is up near me and McKinney, and Louisville. Their organic grass-fed beef, 85% lean, is $5.60 each when you buy two. That's about the best I've seen out there. Check them out at wildforkfoods.com. Now let's talk about Aura Frames. Look, we've all done it. Last minute shopping for the holidays, and you are either late or you just don't know what to get one of your loved ones. Well, Aura Frames is a perfect gift. It's a digital frame, plays both pictures and videos, unlimited uploads, and you can connect it even if you're giving it as a gift and connect through the app and upload more photos and videos of Aura Frames from distances, not have to be near it. And that's a really cool thing to do. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using the promo code DLLS at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code DLLS. This deal is exclusive to our viewers and listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right. Time now for us to look back at last week's games, which ended yesterday, because no days off, Luds. Just keep grinding. 30 games into the season, and the Dallas Stars are one of the, actually, they have the second best record in the NHL and only a couple points behind the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, an incredible start to the season. I believe through 30 games, I saw this morning, only the 2015-16 Dallas Stars had a better start by one more point,
one
Sam?
Point, yep.
Because it's what,
46 points
to 45
30 games, yep.
So it's been really, really good. And yet, as we've talked about at length, it's not flawless. But isn't it great to be in a position where the Stars, as Lud says, where you almost talk about being repetitive of success, at this point of the season. Doesn't mean anything, but you're a lot better off being one of the best teams in the league through 30 games than trying to see if you can salvage a season after 30, like teams like Florida the Florida won last night, and they may be okay, but Vancouver struggling, Nashville struggling, St. Louis, that kind of stuff. So Dallas is in a good spot. So let's talk about the one non-win last week. First game of the week was Tuesday night in New York against the Rangers at Madison Square Garden. The big thing was Jake Ottinger was originally scheduled to start, but because of an illness, stomach virus, Sam?
I don't know.
I feel like I thought I saw.
Yeah, I don't know if that was ever
somebody report that, but he was the backup. But they decided to start Casey DeSmith, and Gully said, "Oh, I kind of would rather like that anyway because New Jersey's the better team, and that kind of lines up well." Well, they had the lead in spite of the fact that they were getting really attacked in the third period by the Rangers. Dallas didn't look like they had their best effort, except for Casey DeSmith, who was magnificent. They lost the lead late and ended up losing in overtime, but because of the point streak continued.
For me, Casey was great.
Yeah.
Right? And as the game went along. But to me, when you think back and when I look back at, the last few games, that seemed like the point where you could feel them starting to hit the wall a little bit. And New York's a better team than what their record shows, and I think they're getting it put together. Their goaltender's been excellent, which we kind of knew that. Kind of kept them hanging around, waiting to make a move. But I think that's when I felt you see some signs of fatigue, and Casey had to make some incredible saves. And so at the end of it, they don't win the hockey game, but they, again, you keep on collecting points, and especially on the road. So, look, in hindsight, it was, obviously it was a good move by Gully because of what happens in the New Jersey game as far as picking his goaltenders.
Boy, did it work out well.
Yeah.
Sam, New Jersey, your old stomping grounds, and Jake Ottinger was perfect, getting his 14th shutout of his NHL career. And coming off a back-to-back, New Jersey was rested. And Luds and I had this conversation while you were out last week of it being I called it a mature game. It was very patient.
Yep.
Both teams were trying to defend the same way. They attacked that defense differently, but Dallas never got rattled. And by the end of the night, 3-0, it looked like they had it fully in control, even though New Jersey is a really good team.
Yep, that was the key, is the control, right? I felt like out of all the games last week, that was their best game, and it wasn't, as Led said, it wasn't because they had all the energy and they had a bunch of jump. It was they just played the smart way. They didn't give up much. Jake didn't have to make. He made that one really the 2 quick saves in a row on the rebound. Other than that, it wasn't like he was making all these 10-bell saves and had to be all over the place. They were very structured. They knew they probably didn't have the legs like you're talking about, and they just played a simple game. Got a couple of goals, got a lead, and Jake made the 1 to 2 saves he really had to make to keep him in there. But I think that was probably their best game of the week, which is probably saying a lot since it wasn't very clean in itself.
The other thing about that is that they don't. I think they feel that when things aren't, and as a team, you're sitting there going, "Man, we're not playing well enough, and we got to do something. Now we got to bring this, we got to do that." There's a confidence going on with this team, knowing that they have enough big-time players on this team that let's not step outside of who we are. Let's not panic and say, man, are we playing bad? And then all of a sudden they try to do a little extra, and maybe a couple defensemen end up jumping into the play when they don't need to. Like, just relax. Like, we're finding ways to win. They believe that they're going to find a way to win, regardless if it's start of the third period, OT, whatever it is. They're finding the late goals, and so they can kind of just use that. They can lean on that now on the bench, and they can talk about that. Guys, let's keep just pushing forward. Everybody doesn't have to jump up here. Yep. We're going to find a way to win this hockey game. And to me, the belief factor in what I believe is in that room right now, and then on the bench when they're playing the games, is probably their biggest advantage right now, along with obviously their skill set and Jake, but I think the belief that they have that they can beat anybody in any different way.
Yeah, what's funny about that is I asked Glenn Goldson today about the fact that, you look up at the board. Last night was another great example. They have not put up a lot of shots. Right. And it's not like one of those games where, they're creating, they're just not getting shots on goal. They're not creating a whole lot. But on the other side of it, you look up and the other team has 12. So it's a balance. And he said we've really liked the way we've defended, and he believes that when we defend well, and I think you might have said this before too, when we defend well, we play better offensively. So that's what they feed off of. But it's interesting because what you just said, they're not pushing, they're not taking risks. You would think of a team that the coach and the players all know we need to find a way to create more offense 5-on-5. You'd think you would see some of those mistakes from jumping up too much to the play. That's immature.
But they see what's happening is it's the other team that's getting frustrated because the other team knows this team's going to find a way to score a goal. They've proven that to everybody in the league. So we have to start. We got to get that first goal. And at least if we get the first goal, now that means we're only tied.
Yeah.
And so now I think when teams are in that close game with the Stars team, is there gets to be a moment we got to get a goal here. We got to, and maybe they open up and they're like, okay, we'll open up. We only need one little crack, and it's got to be. I mean, and it's not like they have to worry about like that one line because Gully's spreading his key guys around enough that every time somebody comes over the bench, there's one of those key guys, or maybe sometimes two and sometimes three guys out there. And I think that besides them having a belief, the word is getting out, and it's a belief from their opponents that we're going to have to play a near perfect game in order to come out of a point with this game. And I'm sure teams feel the same way against Colorado.
And Sam, to your point, we go to the Friday home game. They come back after the 2-game New York, New Jersey back-to-back, which, by the way, I said this after the New Jersey game. Dallas is near perfect in 4 back-to-backs. Think about that.
It's crazy.
Possible 16 points. They have 15.
It's crazy.
The Rangers' overtime loss, front or back half of a back-to-back set. They've played 4 now of 12 planned this year. And they have points in all but one. I mean, they have points in every game, but they have the 2 points. They've won all 4 second games of back-to-backs.
1 overtime loss.
And the overtime loss to the Rangers, which they had the lead until the final minute 9, I think it was, when Will Cooley scored for the Rangers. That's just remarkably good because, Les, it wasn't that long ago, and I don't know if you remember this back, let's say, when Lindy Ruff was coaching or Ken Hitchcock briefly or Monty, where that second night of a back-to-back, there was a stretch, it was like the end of the Mark Crawford into the Lindy Ruff era especially, where they had trouble with a backup goalie. And that second night was almost a scheduled loss. Yep. Now it's almost a guaranteed win.
That's because of goaltending. I mean, again, the back-to-back games, you're going to point at that guy all the time because there's going to be moments in back-to-backs, regardless of the schedules that they have this year. Anytime you're in a back-to-back game, it's hard putting shift after shift and dominating games because you're running on fumes at sometimes. And so we've seen how many times Casey's had to do it. Jake hasn't had to do it that often, but I mean, they've got a guy back there that, in my opinion, I don't think you call him a backup. He's a 1B, I guess, if you want to call him that. And I think he lives for that game, to be honest with you. I think that he looks at it as a challenge, and now he knows that he can be that goaltender, and he's shown that.
And you talk about the times where you're fatigued. Well, I don't know if they were super fatigued against the Sharks, but they really looked like it against the Penguins.
Here's the difference in the fatigue level. Here I go again. The fatigue level in the last few years, and you're chasing people all over your zone.
Yes.
Now you're in a spot. You're in a spot. I'm not. Again, I can speak for defensemen only, but I'm not. I don't have to chase him all the way out here and spend some gas that isn't in my tank. They're coming to us, and then all of a sudden, all they see these either black or white jerseys, whatever they're wearing their night, and they're like, where's the goalie? He's back in there somewhere. And so then, so you're able to play your position a little bit better, and they're the ones that are expending energy.
Did you notice last night in overtime that the Stars are doing more defensive 3-on-3 switching in their own zone than strict man-on-man like they did in the past?
Yeah.
And there was more.
It's less skating,
but it seemed like,
and you don't have to run into the picks all the time.
And you noticed that they seemed more comfortable. It wasn't like awkward. The first couple games this year, we talked about how hesitant and weird the reads were. But Miro and some of the forwards or Essa, they were passing them much more smoothly.
It's read and react now. It's more. It's not a series of one-on-ones all over the ice.
Yes.
It's like strength in numbers.
Sam.
Yep.
You reverse jinx Sam Steele on Friday night, and he scored.
Yeah.
And that was a huge goal in a game which it felt like the Stars knew they were the better team than the Sharks. They held them to 17 total shots. They were completely dominant in the first period, but only had the 1 goal from Jason Robertson. Then they give up a goal in the second. They're tied. Sam Steele couldn't buy a goal, had some unbelievable chances, but you reverse jinx him and he scored. So maybe our Sam, deserves credit for the win against the San Jose Sharks.
You're very welcome. It was good to see him get it, too. I think I said this in the post-game show Friday. It was just good to see him get one because he has been good. I said to Luds, we give him, some crap because it's like he can't score. But the fact that he's getting those chances is some credit in itself, because not every player goes up there, no matter who you're playing with, and gets the puck on their stick in those positions.
I mean, and then they beat the Penguins. Our DLS Stars takeover was so much fun last night. We had a great time. It started early because we recorded our pregame show about 2:30 in the afternoon.
Just about 24 hours ago.
That's right. Then we went over to Hooters next door. We had a nice buffet meal. Luds seemed to attract all the drink tickets that were the excess ones. Sam got in on the action. It was fun. And then we walked over to the game. We had some fun up there. Luds got swarmed wherever he went, which is a par for the course around here. And then we did our post-game show, and people came back. They didn't want to leave. They were enjoying it. So it was a lot of fun. Look at that. That's the pregame.
Look at that shot from up top.
I wish we had that postgame because we could see her knitting.
Oh, I know.
That's right.
In the front row.
Kimber was knitting on the couch right over there. So
she did a whole quilt by the time we were done. It's ridiculous.
look at that. Signing pucks.
Soothing.
We had a great time.
Yeah,
Thank you to
fun.
everybody
I signed my first shirt
that came out.
while it was on someone. I've never done that before.
There's me eating everything possible. And there's Luds he was there, but he was not in that frame. But
I think I was still standing in line at the bar.
Yeah.
I think you were stuck in the urinal at that point.
Long
I went to the
lines.
bathroom with Luds.
I believe we heard that. Oh, look at that. You guys were great. We're going to do it again. So make sure you sign up to be a diehard because you get early access to the next DLS Stars takeover. Up next, we just talked about last week. It's time for our 3 stars of the week here on a DLLS Stars podcast. Let's talk about game time, and specifically the upcoming FIFA World Cup in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. They just had the draw last weekend. I believe it was last Friday. And boy, if you see the groups, where the U.S., I think, got a pretty favorable draw. And then over the weekend, what games are coming to Dallas at what we call AT&T Stadium. FIFA's going to call it Dallas Stadium. Let's not get the people of Arlington all wound up about that. You know this is going to be the world's most massive sporting event, the World Cup 2026, and it's going to be a very difficult draw to get tickets. But you need to use Game Time. Not only do you get verified, guaranteed tickets, but you also can get at least close to great deals because it's not going to be cheap to get to the World Cup games. So what do? Download the Game Time app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Create an account. Use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You, I, everybody. We make decisions every day. With Prize Picks, you can get paid for being right with those decisions. Prize Picks makes it super simple to get paid for being right with your favorite sports. Plus, they're the only app to offer stacks, which means if you want to put all of your winnings on Josh Allen having more or less rushing yards, passing yards, and touchdowns, you can do it. All 3 of them, and you can win with just one player. And Josh Allen, pretty good one to bet on. But even more than that, it is easy to follow other people in the app so you can see what other players are using. Use that to your advantage and get right so you can win. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code DLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is DLLS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
All right, Ryan, let's hit that super chat since we just received one and it's
Bing
funny.
bong.
Burned Oils with a Darian Hatcher in Year After the Cup. You guys are making Sam look small with that big Christmas tree.
You don't need a big Christmas tree to make me look small. It is a big Christmas
not
tree,
that big.
That's pretty big.
That's what she
Gotta be a
said.
12-footer, right?
All right. Let's do our 3 stars of the week. See what we devolve into almost immediately. We start with Luds. That's our usual tradition now,
Oh,
right?
Boy.
Let's try to figure out, this is always a fool's errand. What's inside Luds' head? His brain, his way of thinking.
Oh,
Okay.
at least there's one that's easy.
How about, I know what number 3 is. So, okay. So we're not going to make our guesses yet. So you're in the chat.
You're in an animal mood.
Your thoughts
night, huh?
about Luds' picks for 1, 2, and 3, first, second, and third stars of the week. What are your guesses? We'll come back to that at the end of the segment.
Can I clarify the second is that a seal?
It looks like a seal.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Sam.
It's a good-looking mammal. Is that a mammal? That's a mammal.
Yeah.
Look-
believe so.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I believe so. All right, Sam, let's go to your pick.
Let's do it.
3 stars of the week.
Yeah, so I'm going to start this by saying Jake Ottinger deserved one of these. However, I wanted to give number 3 to Rope Hintz because he looked like he might have had the best legs of anyone this whole week, and they need him to have the speed we saw last night against Pittsburgh because he drives this team to a different level when he has that speed. So Rope was great. A bunch of assists this week. Miro with the goals was the key, right? He had the 2 goals last night. Obviously, the big one to tie it late. The one against the Devils, I believe, was his other one. Shooting the puck. We talked about it a lot. That Miro Heiskanen, again, just like Rope, brings this team to a whole new level. And then Jason Robertson, the guy just scores. He didn't score last night, and I was shocked.
He did. Well, he had
8 chances to do it.
Opportunities that there was one on they finally got a power play in the third, late in the third.
Yep.
And they set him up. They got the chance they were looking for. Then in overtime, he had a chance. Then in the shootout, he hit the crossbar.
He's all over it.
That was one of those nights where you just say he might, as you said, he might be tired because we're just so used to when Robo has that on his stick, they go in the net. Okay. My picks for 3 stars of the week. Tom Hicks gets the number 1 star.
Nice.
Because for the whole first segment. 2nd star, Jake Ottinger. Do you guys know, I don't know if you guys have been looking, but suddenly there is only one on top of the NHL's leaderboard for wins. With 14 on the season, Jake Ottinger, more wins than Logan Thompson, than Scott Wedgwood. They're tied with 13. Igor Shesterkin, Jeremy Swayman, and Karel Vejmelka, each with 12. No, Jake is the only one. And I know his numbers early in the year weren't great, but he's gotten himself up to a .909 save percentage, but he has more wins. 14, 4, and 2 on the season.
Look at those numbers.
He was fantastic this week.
That's ridiculous.
And the crazy thing is, if you go to some of the goals against in this incredible week, we go, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, he had the ones
one
he
against
did
the
give
Penguins
up weren't great. Yeah.
But then, and Lud said it to us, to our diehard takeover after that first goal. He goes, you watch, he'll lock it down. And he did just that.
And he is, the more Connor Hellebuck sits out, the more Jake Ottinger does this. The more your boy.
Do you think there's even a question anymore?
Starter?
I think that Hellebuck has put himself up enough
That's what I say.
To deserve it. But I think Glenn Gullinson said it today. Jake's our guy, and he should be their guy.
Yeah.
So Mikko Rantanen is my number 3 star. He was tied for first in the league in points this week with 6. 3 goals, 3 assists in 4 games. He had 3 even strength goals, right? We talked about it. They're doing a lot of power play scoring. He scored 3 5-on-5 goals. He averaged over 20 minutes of ice time this week, and he had a team high 14 shots on goal this week, Luds. In 4 games, Mikko had 14. Robo and Miro had 11. Mikko shooting the puck a little bit more for a distributor.
Did anyone else have any?
Do you notice that he's shooting the puck more when Sam's on his line?
Even when it's a 3-on-1.
We were giving Sam a hard time last game because he's getting set up by Rantanen or whoever, and they're just missing. There's the just abouts, and just as we're about ready to, I think we were ready to toss something out there, and then he scored the goal.
Yeah,
so we're happy that Sam Steele got that goal. But there were a couple though.
The 3-on-1,
remember
New York.
that one where Mikko comes down the left-hand side of the ice and Steele's wide open over there on the one-timer, and he decides to take a shot from about the face-off.
Nobody was looking over to the right.
Yeah, but no, you know what? It's funny because everything that we do, it gets harder all the time because I'm glad you threw in Mr. Hicks but otherwise you can see we're picking the same guys all the time, so you can tell who's driving the bus on this team, and this is through injuries. Here's my whole, and I don't want to get on this rant. It's the Olympic break, and these same guys that are their stars every single night and play all the big minutes are going to be the same guys over there.
Yes,
and they're going to be spending minutes. And they're going to be time on the ice, and you just hope when they get back somehow they find. I hope they have a big lead, and all of a sudden a couple guys get a boo-boo when they got to sit out for 3 games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just find some place to give them a little bit of rest.
Get a little bit of rest.
Something.
Sam, why don't you walk us through your thoughts on Sean's 3 villains of the week?
Let's see if I even know who they are.
Well, they're right in front of you.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Number 1.
Nice, Luds.
Number 1. That's an obvious one. Gavrikoff's the one
All 4 of them
who kind of fell. Well, I just meant that one's
even the guy up in the top.
That one's tough.
Obvious.
Yeah. but falls on such a freak accident, such a little tiny bump into Sagan's knee that may potentially end his season. Did see Sagan actually at the rink today. Good to see him just walking around the rink. Yep. He's as much Sagan as he can be, peppy, but he's also feeling it. So that's a tough one for the Stars, and him off the ice, maybe even more important for this team than he is on the ice. Shesterkin, Lutz just talked about it. He was incredible in that game. Gave them a chance for them to come back and tie it and win in overtime. And Colorado, we were just talking to the Mavs crew upstairs, and they're asking us, why the hell am I hearing that the Colorado Avalanche and Stars could play in the first or second round? And we had to explain the whole
divisional
format and everything like that. And it's just looking more and more like if the Stars don't meet them in the second round, they may even meet them in the first round if someone falls back. So
I don't think either one. I don't think there's any way that they're not.
Minnesota could end up
question about
number one.
That's insane. So there's no way.
I have a question about the seeding.
Yep.
Why did they do that?
That's a long conversation about.
The main thing was they wanted to create the rivalries within the division, which they've done that. I mean, it accomplishes that. But this is just my opinion. On the other side of that, you don't want a Colorado or a Dallas to go in the second round or whatever it may be. I mean, I love the 1 versus 8.
I do too.
That should go back to that because you look at what it would be, and it's totally different.
Well,
and then they meet each other in the Western Conference.
I really like the reseeding after the first round to give the most benefit for the teams that had the best regular seasons, because we say you can have a record-setting season if you don't win in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. But that 82 game or now next year 84 should be rewarded by, hey, if you're the higher seed, you play the lowest remaining seed. Mm-hmm. The reason why the NHL switched a few years ago is they wanted to go to that March Madness style bracket where fans could pick every round, because if you have a reseeding, you don't know who's going to win and then play. But I think you should really benefit. Like if you have a President's Trophy winning season, you should not play the second best team in your conference in round 2.
Otherwise, you just get in. That's what teams are doing right now. You talk about Florida all the time. They're just, let's just get in. We know we can beat them once we're there. Otherwise, you look at it, you could play a team that just sneaks in.
All right, Luds, it's up to you now. Let's go back to his picks. In the chat, anybody, any suggestions of who?
I know 1 and 3.
I think number 1 is pretty obvious because that's an otter.
I don't think I know 2.
Yeah. It's got to be Jake.
Yeah, that
okay.
Pretty obvious. Yeah, it's kind of hard to. I mean, it's hard coming up with something. I'll find something, but
you will.
I'll find something.
So the second one is a seal, and it looks. I don't know which. It kind of looks like a harbor seal, but I don't know if that matters. Do you have any thoughts, Sam, on why a seal?
I don't.
Connection. And then, of course, the third one is Hooters. I'm guessing that's
yesterday.
The takeover.
The whole day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one's.
I mean, that could have easily been on
Lud said a good-looking mammal.
Oh, no. Carly said in the chat, is number 2 Rope? He's always lying on the ice. LOL. Thank you, Carly. That's pretty funny.
Said it's a good-looking mammal.
It is.
Mammal.
That's called a Sima seal.
A Sima seal?
Sima seal.
And what's the significance of a Sima seal?
Where do you think the Sima seal is from?
Was it Finnish?
It's Finnish.
So is this?
It is Finnish, and so
Miro?
I went with Miro for the Sima seal. Now, I did tell Ryan, and actually, I sent it to him too late today because I was looking for it at home this morning. I couldn't find it, but I was looking for a picture of 4 Sima seals. Now, the Sima seal, by the way,
for a little Finnish seal mafia.
And I was going to say, take your pick. There's the 4 fins, because I agree with Hintz. I agree with all 4 of them. They could all be up there. But the Sima seal is actually an endangered species in Finland. There's only like 500 of them left. At nights, Miro's an endangered species.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
So is Makar and so is Quinn.
Yes.
But and the other thing is, I read the first thing and it said it was the national animal of Finland, but all the other ones, it's the brown bear. But they are lobbying for the Sima seal to be their national animal.
Make Miro your
Finland.
national
animal
of Finland.
There's your, that be geometry or
seal.
history lesson or geography or?
He said geometry
I
first.
think geography probably.
Yeah, geometry. It's a circle. I was drawing a circle.
That's math.
Geometry.
You came full circle.
I came full circle.
I love that.
Nice.
I actually had Miro in my 3 stars. Obviously, I decided to go with Tom Hicks, but then because I was looking at skaters, and then I submitted my stuff because I sent it to Ryan without Jake, and then I got the email. Jake Ottinger was named the NHL's 2nd star of the week, and went, oh, shoot.
We should probably have him in there.
Look at goalies. And I said, Jake's got to be my number 2 star behind Tom Hicks. And so Miro got bumped. But, Luds, I completely agree. Miro had a great week. And if it's not for his late goal, let alone his goals and assists from the previous games, they don't have the record they have this weekend. They certainly don't beat the Penguins.
He's been so good, though.
So good.
I mean, through this whole stretch, Miro's been so good. And the first thing I think I said at the game, I don't even know if you guys were there, I might have said it to whoever was sitting next to me, is I noticed in the first 5 minutes that Miro looked tired. And when Miro Heiskanen is tired, granted, he plays 25 minutes a night, but when Miro looks tired, it's a good gauge for the rest of the group. Because if that dude is tired, Essa never looks tired because he just plays the same way all the time. He understands how to manage his game. But when Miro comes out from behind the goal line and tries to get to the front of the net and he's a little late and sluggish.
It's just a hesitant.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Again, where a lot of times it starts? It starts between your ears.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to fight it off, and especially the conditions.
One last thing before we go to break. Jake was the 2nd star of the week. Ilya Sorokin of the Islanders was the number 1 star of the week. They were both 3-0. They both had a shutout. Jake had a .961 save percentage. Sorokin .960, so that's 1/1000th of a percentage point difference. Sorokin's goals against was .133, extremely good, but Jake was .098, yet Sorokin went first. The only thought I have is Sorokin faced and made 30 or more saves in all 3 of his games, where Sam alluded to, the defense didn't have, what he made, what was it, 16 of 17 against the Sharks. The Penguins had a little bit more, but it was under 30. Otter faced 76 shots. He stopped 73 of them. So he gave up 3 goals in 3 games. Sorokin gave up 4, but he faced 101 shots, made 97 saves. So he made 24 more saves over 3 games than Jake did, and he actually played 4 fewer minutes, probably because he had to get pulled in those games.
Yes. Well, they wanted a Russian and an American and a Canadian.
Well, there you go.
3 stars.
So that's why Jake was the 2nd star, but still.
For Hagee, Canadian.
I'm
kind of assuming. I don't know. Carter Verhaeghe.
Believe so, yes.
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay.
And playing well for the Florida Panthers right now. Okay, up next, talk about Sam. But more specifically, Sam has a lot to talk about from practice, injury updates, and more here on the DLLS Stars Podcast.
Injury updates, huh?
Not quite yet.
Here's one that is not on the injury list, is the face-off collection. Because it's alive, well, and healthy, because we've talked about it for months now. So you can continue to buy these shirts. I believe Sam's got one on. Sam is our model today. I didn't realize that I was going to do this again, although I've done it every day for a month, so I should know better. And there's no discount. Sorry. You just got to go buy it.
Well, you're a diehard. You get 20% off.
No, yeah, then become a diehard.
Yeah, sign up to be a diehard.
Is a diehard still $23, or is it back up?
No, it's
that
back
sale's
up.
gone.
It's up.
That's,
That sale's
yeah,
gone.
We'll have another one.
You missed Cyber Monday.
As soon as our GM gets back from Disneyland or Disney World or wherever he is, he'll have some kind of sale.
It's Florida, so it's world.
Okay, whatever. All right.
There's the QR code, Luds.
You know what? Because I think Rope got left out a little bit. Do we have a hint shirt or just the Mafia shirt?
The Finnish Mafia.
I had Rope on there.
Why don't we have a hint shirt?
We don't have a Robo shirt either
flowing
yet.
hair.
Well, Robo's not getting a shirt until he signs.
If you were going to do a Rope hint shirt, what would you design? What would the theme be?
Finnish Flash.
No,
that's Teemu Selanne.
I would do the penguin suit. I would do the black and white.
Would you?
Oh yeah.
Him in his suit.
Yeah, the cookie.
What
was that called from the Seinfeld show? The black and white cookie.
Black and white cookie.
Is that all it was called? The black and white cookie.
Yep.
Yeah. I would do a cookie with black and white cookie or an Oreo cookie, whatever you want to call it, with Rope's head on it. Because it was his suit in his wedding, right?
And some long hair.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I would do.
Fashion forward Rope. Sam?
Yes. I'm going to say very briefly, become a diehard. 20% off merch, 20% off events like last night's takeover.
Much fun.
Join the Discord so you get tickets to events like last night's takeover, articles, no ads on the articles, all kinds of cool things. So become a diehard. But we have something new today we want to show you. DLLS finally has some hats. These are dope. These hats just came out, I believe today. Was today Monday?
Luds, Harry just said it. Hint shirt should be the Ace of Spades.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
Why didn't we think of that?
Duh.
He's got the Ace
hair.
of Spades tattoo. They play the Motorhead song. It should be a Rope Hints Ace of Spades.
I didn't know either one of those.
That's his nickname. Get these hats. These are awesome. They're going to go fast. I bought the 3. I didn't get the Mavs one.
Show them again. Which ones did you buy?
I got the white one. I believe on the right. I got the Stars one, and
that
I got
green
the
one
crest.
in the middle. That Stars one.
Yes,
That's
so I'm
the
excited
hockey
to try
one.
those out on the show and wear them to the rink. Get them before they are sold out, limited supplies.
T.O. said he ordered them all, and he
Of course he
also.
Tio's got everything we ever release.
Where's
Hey,
the
Tio?
I really like the Ace of Spades. So, Luds, do you remember the goalie that was a Stars number 3, played with Texas, but also around the league, journeyman Mike McKenna? You remember the name?
Oh yeah, Mike.
Mike, when he was with the Texas Stars playing with a young Rope Hintz, because he had the tattoo of the Ace of Spades, nicknamed him. And so he started calling him the Ace of Spades. And that's where that came from. I forgot about that. That has to be.
Yeah, that
right?
would be it.
We got to talk to Ben. Ace of Spades, Rope Hintz shirt. How is that not a thing? Okay.
I love it.
Sam, the floor is yours. I'm passing you the puck.
Oh, love it. What the puck?
Not that segment.
Let's do general injury updates first. So on this trip, Thomas Harley will travel. Glenn Gulletson said that they're not sure if he's going to play or not, but he will travel. Talked about the importance of Ben and Duchene going on trips and getting to continue skating with the group. He was one of, I think there were only 8 total skaters today at the optional practice. Both Duchene and Harley were out there. So Harley will travel. Ilya Blushkin will not travel. He is still considered day-to-day. They hope it's something like 5-ish days that he's going to be out.
That was encouraging to hear from Gully,
Yeah,
saying we think
very
it's a 5 to
specific.
7 day injury, which is not super long term.
Yeah, and it's not the same as before. He said it's a different injury. It wasn't a re-aggravation of the earlier one that he just got back from basically right before he got injured. And then the other, there's not a lot of funny in these updates, but the funny one was talking about Nils Lundqvist. Specifically, I asked, how he went from someone who couldn't put a skate on to someone who was playing. And
that fast.
Gulletson said that he tried to put it on and had pain. He was trying to skate around and he had a lot of pain. So they immediately thought, okay, let's shut him down. And not only did they go and just kind of test him out, they went and got him an MRI to make sure there was nothing further than they had originally seen. Came back, everything was fine. A couple days later, started skating, pain went away. They said he went from too much pain where he could barely skate to no pain, feeling so good that they wanted to rush him back into the game because he felt so good. So it was really, as much as we were surprised how quick it was as quick as it seemed with the process as well. Nils was on a scooter, as we talked about
knee scooter,
before,
not my
little
electric
knee
scooter.
scooter when he had his
Self-powered.
boot on and everything. And now that he's not using it, Gulletson said he's loaned it to Liam Bischel, who had a similar injury recently. Gulletson did say, though, that he needed to add some bigger tires and raise it about 6 inches so that Liam Bischel could
the height
use it.
difference between Liam and Nils is rather obvious.
Yes. And then after practice, so Matt Duchene.
By the way, can I quickly jump in and say,
yes.
and a bunch of our DLS Stars Takeover attendees last night, Luds, how many people commented, oh, Sam's not as short as he looked, or we thought he was?
I never heard one of them.
Sam said that's the nicest thing anyone said to me.
They didn't know that he was sitting on a 4-foot stool. Maybe that's why.
Question for you, Luds. How tall are you?
I'm 6'73" inches.
That's not a name.
Why are you doing this? Because we had this conversation
6'1".
yesterday.
Because T.O. on Discord was like, Luds said he was 6'1", but he's not 6'1".
Yeah, I remember with the little thing where they get the thing above your head, that rack that they pull up.
He's talking about it at the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Measuring
Well, it was
your
at
height.
training camp. I mean, I haven't.
6'73" inches.
73 is 6'1".
Unless you have lifts in your boots, which I don't think you do, you're taller than 6'1".
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm 6 foot tall.
I am too.
There
and
are-
he's taller than us.
There are
by more
measuring
than-
sticks on that pole
What?
over there.
Are they really?
Yes, so we can do it.
Yeah,
On that far
I
pole,
don't-
it says
I don't trust those measurements.
Oh, they're
to
on
be
there.
accurate.
they say I'm 6 feet, so it's
That's
it's
why I
accurate.
don't trust it. All
It's
right. So
accurate.
anyway, sorry for the interruption.
No,
but
it's okay.
I thought it was really funny how many people commented on Sam's height at our event yesterday, and you really thought it was wonderful.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. So after practice, I kind of hurried in there to talk to Duchene because he's usually, as with a lot of players, pretty quick to get out of there when they need to, especially in optional. And Duchene was really honest. I told him right away that I had a bunch of concussions in my career, so I was just curious about what he went through specifically because he did speak to the media last night after the game and was very open about how tough it was. Basically said the word concussion for the first time. Talked about how the process was very frustrating. So he told me he had what he calls a vestibular concussion, which is basically the sensory system for balance and your spatial recognition. So basically, it helps keep you focused, your eyes focused, but also your head in space. So when you're
equilibrium?
when you're turning your head, it keeps you focused so that you don't start to either get dizzy, The symptoms are dizziness, not unable to focus, where it kind of gets blurry and goes in and out a little bit, like what I'm seeing all the time.
I think
when
I had
try
one
to
of them
read
this
these super
morning.
chats. Yeah, and so he talked about how that was the toughest part for him. But the interesting part that he told me was that he had the hit Middleton, right, Minnesota, in the home opener.
Third game of the year.
He actually felt okay. They held him out of that next game just because of from other stuff, right? It wasn't that he thought, oh man, I think I have a concussion. He had some neck pain and things that were
which
would
we
come
actually
with it.
speculated about at the time.
Yep.
Of chest, shoulders,
something that they thought was
collarbone,
really just an upper body injury. So they kept him out of that game. He plays the St. Louis game. He said he felt pretty good in the St. Louis game. Didn't have any issues. Day after that, midday, he said he was hanging out with his family, and all of a sudden it just went bam, and his eyes went the way he called it. Just started getting blurry. He couldn't seem to focus on things.
Ugh.
He started to see things. And from that point, the interesting part about concussions is usually they're pretty linear, right? You get the concussion, the symptoms are pretty heavy, and your job in recovery is just to go from the heavy symptoms and have them deteriorate as you go, and lower and lower and lower. And when you have a bad day and it goes up, you pushed it too hard. With Matt, it wasn't linear at all. It was a few symptoms here, few symptoms here. They never really totally went away. He told me it was frustrating because you can't have a full good day. It was just a little bit less or maybe a little bit more. And that's a really tough way to gauge whether you're doing too much. So Matt was talking about his eyes were the number one thing. He didn't have the traditional headaches and fogginess. It was really just his eyes getting dizzy, spatial recognition, as we were just talking about. And that made it tough. That's why he put the visor on. He said, it wasn't necessarily like that he had to have the lights or whatever, but he did say one of the big ones with the vestibular system is that crowds, when there's a lot going on, it can make your eyes start to wander and everything gets really distracting. So we put the visor on because he said at a rink, you got noise over here, you got fans over here, there's all kinds of stuff going on. So it just helped him kind of blur that out a little bit and focus on playing the game. And that helped him to be able to continue skating, which he was lucky to do. The fact that he was able to skate almost through 90% of that recovery was really good for him. So he said that the rehab was, he called it hell. He said it was just hours and hours and hours of whether it was strength recovery, strength training to get his neck and things like that, or things on the computer that are eye awareness and stuff like that. He actually flew out to San Francisco for a little bit to work with the specialist. He said when they play the Sharks, I believe it's December 18th coming up here, he's actually going to go and work with that specialist again to try to continue. And the biggest thing he told me was the rehab's not done. The lucky part for him in the Stars is that playing games is now part of that, so that he can play, and that's part of his development here. But
he still has steps.
He still has plenty of steps he has to get to in order to do that, and in order to get him to that point. And he said, he's not sure when that's ever going to really go all the way away, and that's the most frustrating part. He said he had a concussion before. He didn't say which, if it was Nashville or Ottawa or where he was, but it was a really traditional one where it was just 10 days. He had the concussion symptoms, start to deteriorate, plays 10 days later. Whereas this one was really frustrating because he just could not gauge where he was supposed to be. And he told me the toughest part about it for him was that he didn't have a body of work before, because he played 4 games. Yeah. So like Nils.
Yeah, so he didn't have a baseline.
Didn't have a baseline to really, he just finally learned, they're learning a new system, the new coaches, all this stuff. He comes in, he plays 4 games, and he's immediately out. So it was really hard for him to gauge where he should be. And last night he said his only goal was to simply be average, and he thought he did that. And then I said to him, luckily I got in the rink before you guys did, because his first shift, I was standing up there right before we got to the seats. His first shift on the ice, the crowd cheered the whole time. Whole time he was on the ice, they followed him around with the camera, showed him, they cheered, and then they gave him a big ovation when they put him on the big screen later. And when I brought that up, he started to get emotional, and he used the word emotional a few times, but he really said that means everything to him. The Stars fans are there for him, that how much they supported him through all that. And that is what carries a lot of these guys sometimes, right? They know this is tough. I'm in the dark days. I don't know when I'm going to be out of it, but he knows the support that he's had from the team, from the fans. And I just thought it was interesting the way he was open about all that, to be able to just state, here's what's going on, and it's not done yet. And he actually had to get up and kind of walk away before he was getting even more emotional. And there's a lot of emotion around the rink today. As I said, I mentioned Sagan with Duchene. You got the Tom Hicks stuff we're talking about. there's a lot of emotion around this team right now, and I will say that the team, the fans, everyone has made this easier for players that are going through this type of thing. So good to get the update. Good he was honest about it. And now all you hope for him is that each day is better. Like I said, he skated today, no symptoms, but no setbacks, no issues. Expected to go on this trip and play, and it's just good for.
He's going to write all that up because that was a very extensive report, really interesting.
Yes.
So if you're a diehard, you look for Sam's article in the coming days. If you're not, sign up. Luds, just briefly here, that's the one thing I took away from that Sam said of all the things was he didn't have a baseline for games this year. He only played in 4 games. Well, the rest of the team, most of it, and there's a lot of injuries that we've seen. The rest of the team has played close to 30 games to work through the changes in system from the Pete DeBoer coach team to the Glenn Gullis and stuff. And we've seen a notable improvement team-wide over the last couple months. Matt Duchene doesn't have that. So in addition to physically not feeling like he's been playing and he has to get back into that, I think Gully said today he's got to get a few layers and a few scars back up to sort of get into the grind of the season. But he also doesn't have the reps of playing in this system. And so when we watched last night and said, boy, he doesn't look like midseason Matt Duchene. He looks a little uncomfortable. Part of it may have been playing on the wing instead of center. Part of it's what Sam brought up about not having enough games under the system this year.
He looked rusty,
yeah,
which is common. Whether you have a concussion or ankle or whatever it may be, and you don't play for 25 games, and you're sitting there and you're not able to practice with the team, and you're not part of the team, and then you have all that other stuff going on. So yeah, and again, the more I think about the whole playing on the wing thing, because it's unfamiliar in my opinion for Matt to play that way. But then on the other side of the coin, the more I thought about it, does that protect him a little bit? And so, because when you're in the middle of the ice and you play the way that Matt does, and he kind of, he plays an east-west kind of game, you've always got to be aware of what's on your left and on your right. And so if Matt's playing on a wall up and down, a fan's not going to punch you in the side of the head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the glass is there. So you know where you are.
Hope not.
And so you can kind of see what's coming peripherally. And maybe that's something that they talked about.
Maybe.
And maybe that's something that Matt said, I think I'd feel more comfortable there because I don't have to pay attention all the way around, 360. So, but again, I sent this to Ryan last night as soon as he went in the shootout, only because I was thinking we were doing the little drawing thing and because I wanted to show Matt in the shootout because I thought that was so important what Gully did, made that decision to put Matt in there. He's back. This is where we need him. Tyler's out. You're there. Let's get everything. Let's get the cobwebs out of everything.
Yep. Sam, that's fantastic reporting today. Really, really good stuff. Appreciate it. 3 games this week. Stars are in Winnipeg tomorrow night. Our pregame show's at 6:30. We'll be here in the lounge studio. Normal pregame. We won't have all the chaos and fun of the DLLS Stars takeover. We'll be here. And the Stars will be playing the Winnipeg Jets that are definitely missing Connor Hellebuck. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Then a huge game in Minnesota on Thursday. Minnesota's been very, very good. Luds was talking to us about that yesterday, and I can't wait to hear more of his takes on where the Wild are at because they're the 3rd best team in hockey, and they're also in the Stars division. And then the Florida Panthers are in town on Saturday. Sam, you have reporting because I immediately, when Sagan got hurt in New York against the Rangers, I wondered, he's supposed to have a Silver Stick 1,000th game presentation celebration pregame on Saturday at the AAC before the Panthers game. And I wonder, well, now this injury, does that delay that?
Yeah, at this point, it is not. At this point, they're planning on doing it. And I know it's important to Tyler. So I will let you know as soon as I hear if there's anything different. But as of right now, that is still planned for pregame on Saturday.
And just to support our friends, the Dallas Stars, they announced earlier today that the Dallas Stars Foundation's 26th annual casino night will be held on Thursday, February 26th. It's right after a Stars home game. They have a couple days. I think they play Seattle the day before, 2 days off before their next game. 7 and 11 p.m. at Comerica Center in Frisco. Tickets go on sale right about now. I think 3 East or 3 Central. DallasStars.com/casino night. I've been to a bunch of them. They are a lot of fun. Luds, I'm guessing you've probably been to casino night a few times. It is a really good time. So get your tickets. All right? That's all that needs to be said. Luds, Sam, Owen, producer Ryan, great to meet everybody at the takeover. Back to the grind of a Stars game tomorrow night in Winnipeg. Until then, thanks for watching today.
Bang.